I was standing in the middle of my own gravel road, still in my flannel pajamas and worn-out work boots, watching a line of 6 cement trucks trying to reverse up my driveway. The sun wasn't even fully over the ridge yet, and the air smelled like diesel and arrogance. At the front of the convoy stood Beverly Langston, clipboard in hand, blonde bob bouncing as she barked orders like a traffic controller on a power trip. She was yelling at the drivers that I'd given verbal consent. Meanwhile, I stood there, calm, holding a notarized letter that said otherwise in black and white ink, signed and witnessed. Down by the entrance, my newly installed steel gate began to lower, solar-powered, fast, and loud enough to silence birds. As the red access revoked light blinked, the construction crew collectively stiffened. You could feel the oh no roll through them like a fart at a wedding reception. But Beverly? She didn't notice. She was still flapping her arms like she was directing a runway landing at JFK. Then that metallic thunk echoed across the gravel, and she finally turned. Froze, mouth open, eyes wide, like a raccoon caught in a flashlight beam mid-trash raid. And right then, I wasn't angry anymore, I was curious. I just wanted to know how in the hell she thought this was going to go. 2 weeks earlier, life was normal. I was on my porch, mug in hand, watching mist slink through the pines. My property was quiet, not Pinterest quiet, but real quiet. No cars. No dogs. No leaf blowers. Just the occasional hawk slicing through the morning sky, looking for a squirrel breakfast. Peaceful the way peace is supposed to feel. That's when I saw the first pink survey flag poking out of the dirt along my driveway. I followed them down the half-mile stretch to the main road, and sure enough, there sat a white SUV idling at the entrance. Hazard lights blinking like it was in distress. Beverly Langston leaned against it in khaki capris, a pastel blouse, and sunglasses that probably cost more than my first car. She was pointing at my road while talking to some poor guy in a neon vest. I asked what she thought she was doing. "I'm Beverly Langston," she said, like it was supposed to mean something. President of the Fairhaven Bluffs HOA. Apparently, the brand new neighborhood down the ridge, barely 6 months old, was behind schedule. They needed emergency access for deliveries. And guess what? My road was the most logical route. I told her no. Calmly. She countered that she'd already spoken to the county. "Good," I said. "They'll confirm it's my road." I thought that was the end. It wasn't. 2 days later, a backhoe moseyed down my driveway like it had a reservation. Behind it was a landscaping truck, and then unbelievable 12 men in orange vests started unloading a porta-potty across from my mailbox. I stood there, coffee in hand, staring like I was having an out-of-body experience. I asked the workers who gave the green light. They all said the same thing. Beverly. Like she was a prophet or something. That night, I went full Sherlock Holmes. Dug out my title deed, parcel maps, county surveys. Every inch of that road was mine. Not public, not shared, not even part of the county easement. I paid for that gravel. I plowed it in winter. I patched it when it rutted. It was mine. Just to be extra clear, I had a notarized letter drafted the next morning. It explicitly denied any use by Fairhaven Bluffs or its contractors. I hand-delivered it to Beverly's house. She smiled, said thanks, and closed the door in my face. I thought that was her version of a mic drop. It wasn't. The next day, I came home to find my mailbox uprooted, deep tire ruts gouged into my gravel, and no Nokia laminated signs staked at the entrance that read, "Future Fairhaven Bluffs Access Point. Thank you for your cooperation." That was when I realized this wasn't just overreach. It was a siege. She wasn't going to take no for an answer. So I stopped saying it. No more emails. No more polite refusals. No responses to the HOA's now daily passive-aggressive messages accusing me of obstructing community progress. Instead, I started making calls. I had a gate installed. Motorized. Solar. With a backup battery and reinforced posts buried deep enough to stop a tank. Then I mounted trail cams, motion sensors, and a camera hidden in a fake owl on the fence post. I didn't tell Beverly. Didn't have to. She wasn't listening anyway. Then came that morning. 6 cement trucks, all revving engines and rotating drums. Beverly in full HOA general mode. I walked down in pajamas, cradling my coffee. "Who told you to come here?" I asked the first driver. "The HOA president," he said. Said it was all cleared. I held up the notarized letter. This says otherwise. Then I waved at the hidden camera on the post. Beverly paled. The gate began to close. Her panic grew by the second. She started dialing someone, yelling into her phone about legal action and trespassing and misunderstandings. That's when one of the older crew guys walked over and quietly said, "You might want to check with zoning. They submitted the road plans using your parcel number." I blinked. "What?" He nodded. "Blueprints say this road is part of their access route." I didn't respond. Just stood there as everything shifted in my head. Because if what he said was true, this wasn't trespassing. This was fraud. That night, I barely slept. I sat up scrolling through the county's online planning portal, a clunky relic of the early 2000s. I knew how to use it. I'd done freelance GIS work for years. Sure enough, there it was. Their construction access plan. And bold as day, my parcel number, me road listed in their application. No contract. No easement. Just stolen on paper. My jaw clenched so hard I nearly cracked a molar. This wasn't ignorance. This was strategy. Beverly had submitted a fraudulent permit hoping I wouldn't notice, or worse, wouldn't know how to fight it. The next morning, I called zoning. Got transferred 3 times before landing someone coherent. I explained it all. The rep sighed and said, "We've had issues with Fairhaven. You'll need to file a formal complaint." So I did. Attached the deed, the notarized denial, the trail cam photos, and a screenshot of their fraudulent plan. Then I printed 2 copies, one for the zoning board, one for my own records. And I waited until a man in a rumpled suit showed up at my gate with a manila envelope. Beverly had filed for an emergency injunction claiming I was obstructing essential infrastructure. I laughed. A dry, bitter thing. Inside her legal packet, she'd attached a copy of the county's zoning email, which included this glorious sentence: "Pending investigation into potential parcel misuse." She handed me her own smoking gun. I called Sam, a zoning attorney I worked with once. He owed me a favor. He read the complaint and cackled. "This is garbage. But let's bury it anyway." We filed a 3-page rebuttal, complete with exhibits, timestamps, and a letter from the county confirming my ownership and Beverly's misrepresentation. Then I made a little side investment. There was a tax lien lot right at the entrance, technically a separate parcel from my main road. Mostly brush. Dirt. A strip of land nobody wanted. I bought it. Filed the deed. Installed a second gate, a camera, and a steel chain link fence with concrete footers. Now I controlled the entrance and the road. The court date arrived. Beverly showed up dressed for suburban battle pearls, flats, and a binder of irrelevant HOA documents. The judge skimmed the injunction, reviewed our response, and leaned back. "This is a matter of private property," he said. "The defendant has no obligation to provide access." Injunction denied. Beverly tried to argue. The judge cut her off. "Ma'am, you cannot submit someone else's land and expect them not to notice." She stormed out. I walked back to my truck grinning. You'd think that would be the end. It wasn't. 3 days later, a friendly mediation request arrived offering to pay for damages and asking me to consider supervised access. I framed it, because that was when I knew I'd won. Meanwhile, the zoning board launched an investigation. Apparently, I wasn't the only landowner with a complaint. The entire Fairhaven Bluffs project went under scrutiny: access roads, lot lines, even the sewer grid. Then I got a call from the assessor. They were reevaluating HOA land claims. "You may be due for a reassessment," the guy said, chuckling. Could mean fines. Or more. I walked to the gate that evening with a whiskey and watched the sunset through the trail come feed. The trucks were gone. Beverly, however, was not. A week later, a drone buzzed over the treetops. Then again. And again. I hung a sign at the gate. "Drone operators end footage to county assessor." We're all curious. It never came back. But Beverly did. She arrived with a lawyer in training and a new lowball offer to buy access rights. I laughed and pointed to my new gate. No deal. No talks. Build your own damn road. Then the county finished their investigation. Violations: misuse of parcel data, failure to disclose landowner objections, fraudulent filings. Construction halted. Rumors spread. Fairhaven residents started turning on her. Some left anonymous notes. Others apologized. A few were furious. Someone dumped gravel across my gate. I posted footage online with a cheeky caption, hope they come back to clean it. They did. I turned the access lot into a landscaped green space. Stone paths, shrubs, birdhouses, a plaque, private family area. No access beyond this point. Peace returned. But I knew she wasn't done. Sure enough, a letter arrived. Small Claims Court. Round 4. I walked in with a binder, nodded at the judge, and laid out the documents like cards on a table. Deeds. Letters. A zoning board citation for fraud. Case dismissed. The judge stared her down. Do not return to this court with matters already ruled upon. Outside, she stood in the parking lot like a final boss. You think you've won, she said. But if I go, someone worse will take my place. I smiled. Good. At least they'll know where the line is. And she walked away. Eventually, the HOA held a vote. She was out. The new president came by with a real attorney. Apologized. Asked for help rerouting their road through unused county land. I agreed, not out of kindness, but because I was done fighting. Weeks later, construction resumed. Quiet. Legal. Far from my property. The trucks never returned. And Beverly still lives in Fairhaven. But she's just the neighbor now. The one no one listens to. At the gate, beneath the words "No HOA access," I added. Some fences are built out of wood. Others out of lessons. And the view from this side? It's never been better.